Hey folks, we are going to continue working on artwork for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration supplement that we're going to be publishing on DMsGuild. It looks like next month. So, oh man, I'm excited about that. Give me a second here to check my signal. Well, we'll go through my intro and then we'll get to work here for maybe 100 minutes or so. So, mic check, 1, 2, 3, checking in on me. So, mic check, 1. Yeah, it sounds like I'm coming through strong today. Very proud. Very good. Let's see. I'm going to boost across the internets real quick here to get my signal out there to help grow. And so there is there is Reddit. I hang out at the subreddit r Spelljammer channel. Big shout out to everybody there that's been interested in the stuff that I've been doing. Really been appreciating your support. Thanks a lot. For those that are in the future that have seen this before, you can skip it, like you can skip ahead like a minute and I'll be getting into it. But for those that are here with me live now or that haven't been here before in the future that are interested, hey future. My name is Phil. I create role-playing game supplements. I illustrate them and I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past 5 years. There are a slew of links in the description down below that you can click into that lead to DMsGuild.com, where I publish all the work that I have done. Let's see. There's probably, if you're here for artwork, we'll be getting to that in a second. There's probably about 150 illustrations in the books that I have linked down below. And if you do a search for my name, Phil Kearney, on DMsGuild, there's probably about, at this point, 100 some products, books that are out there that are using my stock art. So thanks a lot to the community for all the support there. If you are a DM and you are into, or a player and you're into interesting mechanics or ideas, the stuff that I build are meant for use at all tiers of play. I, as a DM, I run from level 1 to 20 a campaign in about 200 to 250 hours before starting over a new one with my team. So the things that I publish are tools that I need to run the campaign that I want, or were tools that emerged as a result of the campaign I was running. Theurgy ability check casting emerged from a campaign I have been running. The spell point color, the 5-color mana spell point variant rules is an example of rules that I wanted to develop so I could run Magic the Gathering, Ravnica, Strixhaven type games with the Magic the Gathering mana flavor attached to it. And what we're looking at here in Spelljammer is hold on, let me finish my intro spiel here and then we'll get into it. So I just posted I'm live on Twitter. So if you're still on the Twitter X platform, you can follow me at Phil Kearney. Be welcome to do so. I appreciate hearing from everyone. Holy crap, we've picked up some people. Okay, so best way to support the channel by far is like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We've picked up a slew of people since just yesterday. God bless you guys. I really appreciate folks that are taking interest in what we're doing here. We're currently on episode 281. Here's the full playlist. This book cover I created back around episode 15. So if you jump into the full playlist here, and you can go back to episode 15 to see me creating this, and everything from episode 1 to 281 has been me basically building this thing, illustrating it, walking through the mechanics of it, doing page layouts, and it looks like we're finally going to publish next month. So I build games, right? So we play test it. If the testing comes out good, we flesh out the wording, hire on an editor to make sure that the words are good. Once the editor signs off on it, we break up the text into bite-sized ideas that we can place on each individual page. Once we have the page layouts taken care of, you can see here that there are gaps in all of the pages text. That is where we put diagrams, charts, and illustrations. So for example, I would take this page on ranged mounted weapons. We would extract this, or we do extract this as a PDF document that I then import into Photoshop here, and then we start illustrating on it. And once all the illustrations are done, we extract and put them all into the Word document here, seal it up as a PDF, and then put it on DMsGuild and provide a link for you guys to check it out. There's probably about 80 tokens. Creature tokens, ship tokens at various scales, 5 foot, 50 foot, 500 foot scales. All the creatures from Light of Xeraxis that can exist or maneuver independently in wild space, as well as all the maps for Light of Xeraxis and all the NPCs, creatures, and ships for Light as Araxes as well. So between all that, there's probably about 80 tokens that we've painted here on stream with you guys over the past 280 episodes. You can check those out. Those will be included in a zip file when you buy this book on DMsGuild, and maybe I will eke out some to my Patreons down the line, but we'll see how that progresses. So yeah, so we paint on the page. When it's done, we put it back in the book. So last time we were here, we figured out the perspective here that we wanted for the railing that these mounted weapons were behind. Here's a harpoon flinger that is basically inspired from Descent into Avernus. They're on the Mad Max trucks, the Infernal War Machines, that characters can commandeer and then pilot themselves and have Mad Max combat. This whole book actually started because we were creating mass combat mechanics using 5e rules, and then we got to vehicles, and we were able to extrapolate more rules to flesh out how vehicle combat works using Descent into Avernus and the Infernal War Machines. We got it to a place where we could do convoy combat like you'd see in a Mad Max movie. Works freaking fantastic. And then, so we were playtesting that, running Descent into Avernus. We got up, basically ran level 3 to 15 at various adventure points. We didn't run an entire campaign, but we had like maybe 16 people over the course of a few months running at 3rd level, 5th level, 9th level, 12th level, and 15th level. And it all worked really well and was super fun. So that was the cue that we had, that we should be able to move forward with that stuff. But then Spelljammer happened in August 2022, and the rules that we developed work with Spelljammer as well as Descent into Avernus. So like, let's just go ahead and pause the mass combat and Siege Machine book, and then let's build out the Spelljammer book. So Ukulele Bard, my co-writer, and Adam Hancock were very supporting of that decision. And here I am with finishing up the artwork for it. So once this goes live, you'll be able to check it out with me as well. Let's see. What do I want to work on right now? Let's see if we can get the cleric on that Eldritch Cannon taken care of. John? If you're here live, be welcome to drop comments and hang out with me in the chat if you want. If you have any kind of questions about stuff, you're certainly welcome to ask, though. If it's a mechanical question, it might not be on the docket of things to look at today, considering the production timeline that we have. Once I have this finished, we have basically a ship combat picture, a boarding combat picture, and 4 environmental illustrations. I am currently working on the last diagrams in the mechanics section of the book. So I am very, very soon going to be shifting into working on the Light as Araxes conversion guide page layouts, and dropping in the maps and the tokens and the ships and all the little all the details. So keep an eye out for that. It's coming your way. Let's see here. Let's play with fire. Let's do that. Got a bunch of fun filigree work we get to work on right now. any luck, we'll have this character done today, and we'll make good strides with the fighter on the harpoon flinger next door. That feels pretty good. Let's do that. Whoa, did we lock up already? Jesus. Yep, we locked up already. I think I might be having CPU usage issues. I keep my computer clean. Occasionally Photoshop locks up, but it's locking up more and more often. I'm concerned that my hard drive is, that my motherboard is having a glitch. The fan is good. That's a nice change. But I don't know what's going on. Why am I glitching so much? It just flat out crashed the other day. Like the fuck? That is a warning sign that my pooter is sick. I am not happy about that idea. Atoll. Let's do there. Here. Okay, so I am here 6 days a week doing live stream, and then I post a video on Sundays and take the day off. This Sunday, because of the requests and questions that are on Reddit, I'll be creating a short video about flying, spelljamming inside of the atmosphere of a planet. It's a hot topic, and obviously, of course, we have answers for that. So we'll just go visit that page and just discuss discuss the ramifications of that. Pull out a map, maybe. Play around with some ideas, present some opportunities to add or embellish adventures, or to complement the style of campaign you can run in Spelljammer with that high level of mobility of being able to cross a planet in moments. So I think that'll be a good stream. Not stream, but that'll be a good little tear out video. And then it'll be Christmas, and my family celebrates Christmas, so I'll be AFK on the 25th. So I'm going to create a second video, and I think I might make that video about hazards in space that we developed for this system of this 5e supplement. So, like, for example, there's no real mechanics about catching things on fire that exist in 5e. You deal fire damage, and the DM decides if it's destroyed or not, if it's an object. That's basically it. That's a little shallow, and you need a little bit more crunch because there's air involved in Spelljammer significantly. Like, if you don't have any air, you die. So you need to have a little bit more crunch about what's going to happen to our air if we're stranded out in space in a fire. It's so we spent some extra time on that and fleshed it out, and so hopefully it'll be enjoyable mechanics for you guys to check out. So keep an eye out for that. We'll post that on Monday, and then Tuesday the 26th, I am going to be on vacation for my day job for an entire week. So starting on Tuesday, you guys are going to have me with you. I can do like 3 or 4 hours in the morning like this. I can have a few hours at lunch, and then I'll have my normal evening schedule. Well, I don't think I'll be streaming on Monday night because hanging with the family. But Thursday, yes, and Saturday, the Saturday the 23rd this weekend should be like normal as well. So if you think this stuff is cool, or you come out at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, I want to catch more of this stuff, then like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We got tons of stuff that we're doing. I do this Monday through Friday in the mornings. Once the Spelljammer book is published, then we'll be working on we'll shift the Eberron project to the morning stream like this, and that'll open up space in the evening on Mondays and Thursdays to do whatever we want. Right now, we're building a campaign, a playtest campaign for the Martial Powers mechanic book, the alternate spellcasting for martial characters supplement to help reduce that quadratic divide between casters and marshals by giving marshals a slew of things that they can opt into on a daily basis, the same as casters can. So that is to the point where I want to run a playtest campaign from level 3 to 7 to make sure that the low end tier works as well as it has been at my home table from level 12 to 20. And so once we build that out, we've been spending time on stream here during lunch times and on the weekend on my Saturday stream to start delving into those mechanics. And so I think eventually one of either my Monday, Thursday, or Saturday stream will disappear and for the duration of the playtest while I'm using those hours of time to playtest. I'm thinking Monday. I think Monday will probably end up being the best day. And then I can have a recap. Oh, that's fun. So once we start running that Rollwell campaign, then I can actually have a devlog conversation and campaign updates on Tuesday. Yeah, I think that'll work. Kind of looking forward to that. It's one thing to pump out a bunch of ideas and to have an armchair design of, hey, I think these ideas would be neat, and then there is actually going the extra mile and making sure they actually work, so that if you plan on publishing them, you can stand with confidence that this is as intended. And if you start, any kind of feedback that you get, you'll have a firm base understanding as to why it is as it is, to be able to have confidence. And if when something is critiqued or people ask questions about why X, Y, and Z, since you'll have that practical experience and it's not just theoretical but live play, you'll be able to say, yeah, I'm doing this because of blah blah blah. And if that resolves whatever the inquiry is, great. If there's somebody that's coming out and saying, what if you did X, Y, or Z instead of A, B, and C? It's like, well, here's what happened when we did blah blah. But honestly, if they're bringing a good idea that you hadn't thought of, you can have good playtesting and miss great ideas as part of that process. So, put in the work. Make sure that it's doing what you expect it to do. So when new ideas come along that would actually work well with it, you have the opportunity just to improve upon what you're doing instead of being concerned about whether what you built wasn't good enough, right? It was good enough because you were able to test it and people approved, so you published it. But then when those ideas come along that are better, and it's like, great, how can we integrate these ideas to make what I published better, instead of getting a huff about, is this, does this make what I did obsolete or not? Like the color mana spell point variant rules that I have on the DMsGuild link below. They, when 2024 occurs, I'm going to have to rebuild all those books. I could be pissed off about that, but it's a really great opportunity for me to update the material. My skills have improved considerably over the past 4 years, and even though I've updated the book a number of times, I haven't actually gone in and reformatted using the page dressing that I like. that I've developed over time here. So that's actually a really great opportunity for me to glam up those books a lot and introduce Strixhaven and add Theros. So there's a lot of good stuff down the way there. But you have to be, I'd have to be open to the system changing and be interested in actually providing ongoing support for the things that I create. And especially with Color Mana, I am 100% on board with that. I've got so much more to do. There's so much you can do with Color. I mean, there's literally thousands of pages of content you could build with Color Mana as your core base for 5e. Incredibly exciting. If you haven't seen that, if you're new to the stream and you're checking this out, seriously, my books all have extensive free previews. So, like, enough that you can get the gist of what it is that we're doing and have an informed decision if you want to, buy my stuff or not. But the collateral effect of that is that I can easily reference the stuff that I create because I make it easily, so accessible for folks. So check it out. If you have any interest in Magic the Gathering as a setting, any of the Magic the Gathering settings for your D&D game, the stuff is legitimately good, and it's worth your time. If you're interested in the Color Mana system to express inside of 5e, it is. I don't know how Wizards would possibly do it better, honestly, with the amount of mechanical detail that's in there, but the simplicity of play, it's really, really good. I only say that because I've been using it for years, and it continues to get better. So yeah, like I said, check it out if you think it's cool. Thanks for the support. You know what? Honestly, I feel like I should grab this and bring that out like this, and then drop in. There we go. I think that's going to be okay. That feels good. Yep, I like that. All right, cool. Back at it. Let's get down in here. That's what I love about PDFs instead of print books, is that how easy. Well, I don't see color, so me working in print always terrifies me, because I literally have no trust in that the print proofing process. I'm completely incapable of proofing color print. Just cannot do it. It really limits my ability to do anything high level corporate. Like that's the one thing that really holds me back from working with Magic the Gathering, or trying to, is my fear of not being visually limited too much to actually be able to run the project if I win the gig. That would just be utterly humiliating, and I am not emotionally prepared for that yet. So I'm psyching myself up. Don't worry, folks. I'm not running away. I'm just Gathering courage. And actually, my landscape is actually strong enough at this point that I could legitimately bid to do land art for D&D, for Magic the Gathering. But again, my inability to see color is a strong limitation on my ability to express color at all. So it's a fear. It's a fear effect. I'll get over it eventually and start that process. But I don't mind handing out building some courage first. Let's do that. And then we can be like that, and we can grab this, we can do that. There we go. We're just layering stuff. Just layering gear and objects and shapes to build mass. I've got a fire burning behind me. God, it feels good. That. See, this is taking shape. It's taking a little while for us to get here, but I'm happy with the results so far. There we go. Let's do that. Yeah, so once these, geez, I should have, God's willing, I'll have the diagrams done tonight. And that means that I'll start in on the page layout and building stuff for the Light of Zaraxis expansion or conversion guide that we have as our second appendix in this book. That second appendix is 20 pages. There's a lot of stuff that we can convert and add commentary to about Light of Zaraxis using these mechanics. So we did, and those are included with the book. So 80 tokens, 8 maps, a full conversion guide for using these mechanics and when playing Light of Zaraxis, either just as an example for how games run and what you can do to inspire your own campaign, or to actually play Light of Zaraxis in a different way. Once we get this thing published, man, there's a lot of fun stuff we can do. Like we can flesh out how Neogi work. We can build out some of the plot hooks that are inside of the asteroid belt that we placed Topolus Tower inside of to make it more of a place that can be explored. We can drop a dungeon in there. We don't currently have one, but we can easily put a dungeon in the asteroid field that you're doing the scaver hunt inside of. So of course, the fantasy mecha, the Spirit Warriors expansion. We can easily create Spirit Warriors, and doing a book of mecha for 5e sounds like super fun. So we have so much on our plate. It's just mecha is so cool. I love fucking mecha, and I fucking love mecha is the proper way of saying that. Don't take that out of context. And the mechanics are, we already have, all the mechanics are already in the book, so when we start building it, you're going to see it. It's dummy simple. It's just basically, it's just branding, you know, like just reskinning Fightercraft. And giving them variety with weapons. Oh, it's going to be so fucking fun. Hey, thank you. How you doing, man? It's good to see you, Nitro. I keep pushing my way back up the character from down on the hips. I keep wanting to push down to the bottom of the character so I can walk away from it to start the same on the other guy. But I keep getting dragged back into details. I just fucking love it. Because I love the characters. I think they're fun. Let's do that. And then here we can slide that down. Like that. That's that. And then let's drop this in here like this. Smooth itself out a little bit. I'm leaning in a lot. I'm a little tired today. How are we doing on time? It's 7 minutes away from me taking a coffee break. Jeez, oh. Yeah, that's going to work. That is going to work. I'm going to finish off the flow inside here, and then we can come back and we can drop this filigree in over there as well and extend out this pattern in the, I don't know, whatever this is, that's draping. Once we get, excuse me for a second, my fire just, I'm almost out of firewood, or rather the fire is burning out, so I need to drop another log on it, is what I'm trying to say. Give me a second, I'll be there right away. Hey, and 1 and 2. I mainly heat with a fireplace because I don't take up a lot of space during the day. So a small fireplace can keep the whole den nice and toasty. There we go, like that. That feels good. Don't go back. What's up? Hey, Karen. It's good to see you. Let's scooch this over. Push this out. And let's pull this in. There. It'd be cool if some of these pieces of art use recognizable items, sort of like Easter eggs. For example, one of the gunners wearing an Eye of the Eagle. Oh, that's neat. You know what? I'll keep that in consideration. I have no idea how these guys are going to end up. You know how Theurgy works. It just kind of creates itself. So, if that is going to manifest, then I shan't prevent it. Me and my gal are watching The Flight Attendant with that chick from Big Bang Theory, Penny. And it's a good show. It's 2 seasons, and the second season is... the first season completes one story, and a second story is starting, and it is... The first season is much better than the second. I don't know if there was... I haven't bothered to look to see if there was a change of writers or what happened there, but all the energy from the first season just dissipates in the second, and they're basically having to start over a whole new show. And it does this sort of Star Trek, this J.J. Abrams Star Trek 3 sort of thing, because you have to specify which Star Trek we're talking about, because Search for Spock back in the day, I think was actually a pretty damn good film. But the Star Trek 3 that J.J. Abrams created is significantly less compared to Search for Spock. So when I say that it does what J.J. Abrams did in the third one, it's that it tells you that the Starship crew has gone on tons of adventures, and they're all exciting, and they have these inside jokes that they make for a little bit to establish that they're a well-seasoned crew. But the critique that is often cited for this, which I personally agree with, is you shouldn't be taking you shouldn't be jumping levels like that. Like if they start off at first, second, third level, maybe by the end of the second J.J. Abrams movie, maybe they're like 7th level. You shouldn't jump to 17th level from there, and that's what they were attempting to do with the third Star Trek film, and the analogy isn't perfect for The Flight Attendant, but the hard shift in tone, gear, and telling instead of showing how the characters evolved over, I guess, like a 2-year jump or something like that. I'm not necessarily sure how long of a jump it's supposed to be, but not inspired yet. I'm waiting to see if the second season catches me or not. I'll be really disappointed if it doesn't, because the first season of Flight Attendant was so good. I highly recommend it. It is a great show. That feels better. I'm still off. I don't have... My symmetry's not there. Pull that there. Okay, there it is. Found it. Just like that. And we'll drop this in here like that. There we go. Hey, I earned my coffee break. I actually did, because... There we go. I said, there we go. Thank you. Just 1 second while I resolve that. There we go. Good. That is feeling pretty damn good. I just want to clean up those details a little bit. I've cleverly hidden her leg behind a post, so I don't actually have to worry about illustrating it. Cheeky monkey. Okay, legit question here. So you mentioned you're mentioning your fireplace makes me curious how fire looks like to you with the bright light. I mean, I'm not running away from it. I'm just saving time. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the stance is good. It's just I'm spending too much. This is taking longer than I already expected it to. It's because I don't have the opportunity to work on these things during the weekend. Because I'm doing diagrams and charts and stuff and tables, and those are all hopefully by the end of today those are done for good. So what am I doing? I'm walking away from it like it's done, but it's not quite done yet. How does fire look? It looks bright. I know that there's colors I know how I don't know the striation of color, but I know it goes like from red to orange to yellow, and then there's a white in there, and that stacks out from the core. I'm not necessarily sure of the order. I can never remember, and I always have to check a color reference. But anything that's bright light hurts my eyes. I'm on permanent night vision. When you don't have any cones, your rods have to compensate for the work, and rods are motion detection, peripheral vision, and night vision. And contrast. And so all I have is contrast and night vision. In that equation, the only thing that are relevant to the conversation is the night vision and the contrast. So that's why I squint a lot, because bright light is harmful to my retinas. It overwhelms them and it hurts. When I was a little kid, like when I was like a toddler, I used to cry all the time when I went outside, because my parents didn't understand what was going on with me, so they would force me to go play outside to get used to it. They did their best. I didn't have the language to express how much suffering I was going through, and they never would have. They never would have guessed. Why would they guess that? It's just the kid's being weird. Put him outside; he'll get used to it. Like, that's the '80s, you know. It's on a pretty interesting path of suffering. I see text going on down there. Hold on. I'll get y'all. So, yeah, fair enough. I don't know what color this is. It's off blue steel with the yellowish highlights. So I think, I mean, I was intending for this to be what it is. Am I missing something that I need to be paying attention to? That could happen. Real easy chainmail like that. No. Not specifically. It doesn't have any unique details. Back in second edition, they had rules for exotic metals like gold, silver, platinum. But for the most part, it worsened the armor class, and if you're using damage points on your armor in 2e, then they got destroyed easier. They were just hella expensive. So yeah, literally had no beneficial impact on the game back in 2e. I would argue though that a battle rager that equipped themselves with silvered armor would be able to attack lycanthropes with their battle rager shimmy shimmy huggy shake. I want to say it was the Spelljammer books that actually had a battle rager in it. I know I read a novel or a series of novels that had a battle rager in it, and I want to say it was from the like the Pentad series. I'm not positive. I don't remember the name. But we talk about the dwarf grabbing orcs and bear hugging them and just shaking, just doing like this and raking all the razors. Like it had all these razors and spikes and stuff on his armor, and would just would bear hug and shimmy it to death. I refer to orcs as its. That's right. I'm old school. It wasn't even the royal it. I think I'm good with that. It's not perfect, but fuck it. Let's put in some highlights and we'll move on to the other character. I don't need to go overboard. Just want to do a little bit of rimming. Rimmer.
3.5 had some good rare metals. My halfling character back then had an Aurorium short sword. Had a pink sheen. God,
I've heard of Aurorium. Was that a Mystara? I've talked about it before, but I love how the shift in focus over the years and characters expression, like back before so back before 3E, there was no character expression really. They came out with kits to help distinguish one fighter from another, or like a bard from another, by introducing like the very rudimentary form of the backgrounds of what we have. Like kits in 2E are basically what backgrounds are today. They had basically a comparable level of power to them. Occasionally giving you like some skills or like a little unique ability, but it wasn't anything that threw the game off. So the only real mechanical difference between like one fighter from another was the magic gear that they had and their measly little kit. And so, when you were talking, like when you have nostalgia about a character in the earlier editions, it was mainly about the things that you survived and the loot that you got as a result of defeating whatever the dungeon was. So your character basically became a walking trophy case of different stuff that you were able to steal out of dungeons or off of enemies. And then fifth edition, and then third edition introduced the multi-classing, the change in multi-classing, where you'd actually gain a level in another class when you gained a level if you're going to multi-class, and introduced prestige classes, which set up the mini game of character building. Like you could be an armchair warrior and never actually play D&D in third edition, and have tons of fun just building, like creating new ways to combine prestige classes and multi-classing to get to be able to create a mechanical effect that you wanted. And that's where that brewing culture came from in D20. So it's interesting that players shifted from the things that I have to the classes I took, and that change in perspective is still less prominent but still present in 5e, because subclasses are more complicated than kits and backgrounds, but they don't have the same deep creation experience that 3e had. The roots are still there, like you can still see it. It's just the shift to move far away from character builds more towards character expression, because as Wizards has basically mastered at this point, flavor is free. Just messing with the texture here for a bit. I think I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and hit save there, and then get to this guy. Jesus Christ, dude, you need some fucking work. So, and then we'll go back to the cannon, and then we'll go back to the flinger, and then we'll work on the background, this mast, and then the structure here that's hinted at in the shadows here. We'll flesh that out, and then we'll be done. So I suspect I'm going to be spending some time on Saturday building this. And so I was talking about this when I first started off, but I figured out, so I'll have two videos since I'll be gone on Monday because of the holiday. I'll have my Sunday video and I'll have a Monday video. The Sunday video is going to be talking about spell jamming, using higher speeds inside of the atmosphere of a world that you're in. And the one on Sunday, I think we're going to look at fire and other hazards. So, and then I have Curse of Strahd on Saturday as well. So I'm tasking myself with quite a bit of with a decent little job load on Saturday. But between stream on Saturday morning and the two videos should only take maybe like 3 hours to create those. That should still leave me with a 2 or 3 hour block of time that I can work on this a little bit more. And then I'll have hold on. Oh, how's this sitting? Let's duplicate that, merge it down. Here. All right, fuck it. Let's get to work. I just bonded everything to the same layer, just so I can mosh on it. Might not be the right decision. Like it's still pretty rough, so I'm going to end up having to do some mechanical work, which may or may not be faster than leaving the layers separated and parsing out how everything should sit before bonding them together. But I think I'm just feeling the flow, and so I just wanted to bond these together and work on them just as a single layer. Spelljammer for martial power. Martial powers for Jammer is going to be super cool. Build out a piloting discipline. So that we can, so that when we build the mecha combat expansion of this book, we'll be able to have a stack of martial powers that mecha pilots can use during battle with their mana pool, channeled through their Gundams. It's a Gundam. Once I finally get done building out all the things that I want to build out, if I wanted to, I can make my own 5e setting and take all the ideas and blend them together into just a single book. Modify the language a little bit, change up how I express it, and then publish it as a Kickstarter.
if I wanted to. They have similar haircuts. There we go. Let's get that figured out. Here we go. That'll work. No complaints.
That feels pretty good. There we go. Oh, pop my neck. Oh, Exalted. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. 3 had the axiomatic and the chaotic dichotomy of the planes of law versus chaos. I know Aurorium isn't in that axis, but they had a lot of exotic materials. Yeah, the nostalgia is real. It's I having played 5th edition for a while now, I recognize how clunky the original D20 system was, but it was so supported. It had so much content. I've talked about this before. Like I never had any reason to homebrew in 3E because they were putting out like 2 books a month. It's like, if I could ever catch up and absorb and process all the information, maybe I would feel like I need to homebrew something because there was something missing. But every time they came out with a new book, it was like, wow. Like, here's a 125 page book with a new character mechanical system, say Magic of Incarnum, right? So now here's the Incarnum system that uses the attunement slots on your body as chakra points for you to be able to create auras on, and then so they act as like magic items that can't be taken from you because they're just spiritual auras that are created. And they had 3 classes and like 2 prestige classes, like 30 magic items, like a dozen races, and a small mini setting with encounters, all involving Incarnum, like packed into a 125, maybe like 156 page book. But it was like, that's just one example of how far down the rabbit hole WotC design was in 3E. Like, it was just so robust. Like, how am I supposed to think that they did Incarnum wrong when there's like 2 there'd be like 2 or 3 races that would come out that like had like some sort of Incarnum benefit. And it was just, the game was constantly doing that. It was amazing, and it was so exciting. And every time a new book came out, I was like, there's new prestige classes in here and new base classes that we have to look over all existing content again to see how this new system that got introduced can be min-maxed into creating characters. Like, I know that when the book, what was it, Tome of Magic, 3E Tome of Magic came out, it had Shadow Sorcerers, Shadow Magic, sorry, it had Shadow Magic, it had True Naming, and it had Binding. Vestiges, which eventually evolved into what 5e Warlocks are today, basically. But when that book came out, one of the vestiges gave you like I think it was a 1 level dip. I think it was like at third. Yeah, it was a 1 level dip if I recall correctly. One of the vestiges that you could bind to had sneak attack, 2d6 sneak attack, which is what you needed to access a lot of the rogue prestige classes. So you could take a small dip into binding and then step like go into ranger, get all your skills that you needed lined up. So like by level 5 or 6, you could get access to a rogue prestige class that you shouldn't have access to like until character level 8. Like every time a book came out, you would find these cool little, if I'm going to build this kind of a character, I can cheat the system doing X, Y, or Z. You know, and that became its own little game of what are they going to release that I can build new combos with. I love that part of the game. That was nothing has ever been able to replace that. It was deck building for D&D, and it made perfect sense that the company that created Wizards of the Coast, that created Magic the Gathering, would have a deck building sort of game system when they first came, when they had their first bid in D&D with the 3E system. It was so right. It was perfect. But obviously, like as time goes on, we see how clunky it actually is. But at the time, it was the hottest thing out there. It was exploring D&D in such a radical new angle. It was amazing. And then they released the thing as an SRD. And then they had the open license. So like anyone that thinks this shit is cool, you're welcome to design in it. It was amazing. It was what an era. But of course, Wizard took a good chunk of the revenue that they got, the profits that they got from Magic the Gathering, and they just pumped it right into D&D. So they were fucking everywhere. As I understand it, Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro doesn't allow businesses to do that. You can't support one line of business with another under Hasbro's umbrella. Each product has to prove itself and survive on its own. Or eventually it gets dropped. So Wizards had spent 20 years basically taking profits from Magic the Gathering and propping up D&D, basically the role-playing community. And that is something I think that is sorely overlooked by folks that, well, I mean, a lot of people don't know this stuff coming into the game so late. In 5e, not having any of that pre-built history available to them to understand where shit came from. Like, it makes me laugh whenever like a YouTuber or somebody comes up with a new mechanic. It's like, yeah, we that was in the second edition. That was in the Skills and Powers book, and we fucking hated it then because of X, Y, and Z. It weighed down the game because of A, B, and C, and that's why you never saw it in another book again. But like, new people that don't know the history, they're like, oh, I have this great idea I just came up with. It's like when people say that MCDM created minions. It's like, oh, you ignorant child. It's so offensive. I get so insulted when people attribute an ancient mechanic to somebody that just got popular in the last 5 years. It's like, I mean, but that's their frame of reference. I get it. I'm not disparaging their ignorance. It's a shame that there's very little being done to preserve that database of knowledge, that transfer of system expertise from one, I guess, quote unquote, generation to the next of D&D gamers. Like, you don't know where the game has been. How the fuck are you supposed to not know not to waste your money on weapon speeds or whatever, or like damage reduction based on armor type? It's like, these are things that were, or like initiative, like initiative scores, like the type of weapon that you use affects your initiative orders. Like, all that shit was so fucking clunky. Like, maybe your table can make it work, but it certainly isn't worth spending $10 on, because it was just a 2-page blurb on a $12 book back in 1992, it makes me wonder if these YouTubers actually think that they're coming up with new ideas and they just don't do any research to find out what actually exists out there, or if they're intentionally going out and finding old mechanics and reskinning it as though it were a new idea to dupe their audience. I like to think the first, because that's just embarrassing at how badly they're offering expertise in their own industry. But I'm sure some of them, it's actually the second. But I'm throwing shade again, so I'll stop. I'm not singling out any specific person. I just know that a lot of times I'll see somebody come up with a new idea. It's like, yeah, I did that. I did that for like 3 years. Here's how it works. Like, but hey, don't let me ruin your thunder. Just don't try to dupe people. Look at that fat lip. You're a fat-lipped elf, aren't you? Drow have the poofiest lips because they keep getting their face bitten by spiders. Spider kissies for my Drow. Hey, look, it's Cat Up. Get up, 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 up. A cat, get up, up. Rear. If you want to play Cypher, get your cat on it. Whoop, 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 whoop. Get up, up. Beedly-beedly-boo. Sorry, I'm playing with your name. So what's up? For those that weren't around in the 90s when TSR was going under, they didn't realize how much MTG was the reason D&D was safe. Yes. Yes. Oh my God. They dumped so many millions of dollars into building that brand. It's it's a real shame. Wizards was a private company back in those days, if I'm not mistaken. They weren't publicly traded, and look at the difference. It's so disappointing when something, a creative industry, like a creative company, like a game developer or a role-playing game like D&D in this instance, Wizards of the Coast, when there's a consolidation or they get bought out by another company, it's like, well, there goes everything you fucking love about whatever they did. Because whoever bought you didn't buy you because they loved the game. They bought you because they smelled profit, and they're attempting to squeeze it. It's a shame. It's a real shame. Real. Boy, I'm really micro-mincing on this neckline here. I have a problem, a personal problem, in that when I build something, I need to know how to get in and out of it. Like this, for lack of a better word, this metallic bib that this guy has going on, I had to put little bolts in here. So there'd be a clip that you could unlatch it so you can get it out from around his neck, because I don't think it'd be able to push up past his jawline. Like, that's something that I think about. I made a fun little video about Hadozi because the Hadozi had like those skin those skin flaps, but people will draw them like with normal clothing on. I was like, how did he get his shirt on if he has skin attached to his elbow, his hips, and his feet? So I mean, I have actually a little video in my actual like in my uploads. I didn't keep up with D&D much in the 90s. It wasn't until 2000 I got interested in it again. Yeah, right on. It's welded on. It's magic. It's magic armor. When you take it off, it just magically swells up like normal clothing. And when you let go of it, it solidifies into metal. Durr, it's D&D, stupid. Let me just say, there was a real subtle point. I love the D&D movie, the Chris Pines movie that just came out. That, God, what a fucking funny movie. But there was a great point where the sorcerer is like looking at a staff, right? It's just a walking stick. He's like, that's not a walking stick, and like he twists it, and he twists it again, and like it like reconfigures itself, and it becomes a magic item from like a gnarled stick. It becomes like this rune covered staff, like in 3 twists, and you can actually see him doing it. It's like, yeah, this is actually a magic item. Like that is the most subtle use of the identify spell I have ever seen. I absolutely just love how just steeped and assumed magic was in that movie. It's like, yeah, we all deal with this shit all the time. You know? It's like it's so gonzo. I really feel like that movie like caught the energy of what first edition AD&D was. That movie totally felt like AD&D, not like 5e at all. Or even 3E, just the level of gonzo and how like outlandish plots was the main way that they solved problems. Combat was not preferable and incredibly dangerous. Most of the stuff that they were doing was running away from combat instead of leaning into it. I love that style. That was my jam, man. That style of play, that was such a reminiscent film for me. I really feel like they caught that energy so good. I like this collar that the guy has now. What a weird ass haircut. Elves have no sense of fashion. Let it be known. I'm firing that shot. Right into the heart of elven fashion. Get bent. Also deeply benefiting from the railing that we have established here to minimize the amount of detail work I need to do on the lower extremities of the fighter, considering that the point of the piece is the weapons, not the armor. I think that is an acceptable manipulation of environment to help keep the focus where I need it. I spy with my eyes something that is text. Hold on. Let me get into that space with you guys. It has legitimately laugh out loud moments, like multiple laugh out loud moments, just legitimately fucking funny physical comedy that is so worth your time. The plot line's fine, you know, whatever. Hugh Grant's great, of course. So it's all plausible, but it's all just wrapped in that Chris Pines was a great pick for the character in that movie. He was just his comedic timing is actually really, really good, and he's actually a very funny physical comedy actor. So he was a great pick for that part. Highly recommend. I've seen it I think 3-4 times now. 3 times, yeah. Saw it in the theater and a couple times on streaming, but it is like if that movie came on like on a Saturday, if I was flipping channels and it came on a Saturday afternoon, I would absolutely just stop everything and sit down and watch it. No problem. Would love a second one. It was legit the best D&D movie I've ever seen. I cannot overhype that. There's like legitimately fucking funny moments. Honestly, a lot of times, an action movie, how much the movie makes me laugh, is a really good indication to me of like the quality of writing. Like if your writers are building into the story like humor that actually makes sense and furthers the plot instead of just being dick humor or shock value stuff, like actually integrated into the story. That to me, that's an indication of really like a really skilled writer, and that happened. Like I never questioned anything that was happening in the story. It's like, yeah, that's legit. Yeah, that's legit. Yeah, I can see them doing the things that way. Yeah, that's legit. Like just down the line. I think, yeah. Battle bib for the sloppy warrior. Buy one, get the second one for free. None of that matters because it's all behind a gun, but it's nice to have the structure in place to know that it's proper. You know, side thought. I'm surprised to this day that there's only one campaign setting in D&D where elves are full-on immortal and live forever. You know what? Yeah. I love Dark Sun. How elves only live for 125 years. They sacrifice their immortality for to be able to run away. I love Dark Sun elves. Their movement speed is awesome, and I love the so the elves and the Thri-kreen are like mortal enemies. And like elves taste better than anything else to Thri-kreen. So once they taste one, they gotta have it. And so in Dark Sun, the Kreen don't sleep, and so but they don't move fast. They have like a normal movement speed. Elves move fast, but have to sleep. So there's this eternal cat and mouse where clutches of Kreen are hunting. Tribes of elves. The elves are sprinting ahead to get away from them, and the Thri-kreen just slowly creep up on them over time because they can just maintain a steady pace and never sleep. All they have to do is wait for an old or a sick one to get exhaustion from the run to fall behind, and then they're out of the mix. And the elves just leave them behind. They can't keep up. They don't belong. It's so brutal, and I just love that they gave up everything, their eternity, their everything, just to survive. It's such a tragic setting. I love it. It's a shame that, well, actually, you know what? I was about to say, it's a shame that current culture, Wizards isn't willing to risk. Stirring up that hornet's nest to build to do Dark Sun, but then I immediately thought, well, you know what, honestly, if they tried to do it, they wouldn't do it well. They just fuck it up. So it's actually great that Wizards isn't willing to touch Dark Sun because there's no way they could do it well. There's no way. Just the world is, it's so like in 4E they had no problem doing Dark Sun in 4E. But like yeah, current atmosphere, no way, we're not gonna do it. It's like, okay. I'm gonna risk being an old grognard here real quick, and that if Wizards was able to build Dark Sun in 4E and do it well, there's the setting isn't problematic. Where our culture has evolved to right now about sensitivity is where the problem is at. If you can't tell a story, a legitimately good story, or offer a legitimately good theme because you're afraid of the optics of difficult subject matter, I think we're at risk of losing our culture altogether. That is hardly that's hardly a fresh take, right? And it's hardly hot. But I think Dark Sun is just a great example of that in effect. So I'm fine with them skipping it, as much as I love Dark Sun, and I've successfully converted it into 5e myself, no problem. It's not difficult to do. Converting anything from 3rd or 2nd edition into 5e is honestly very easy to do. It's such a nimble system. It comes down to, is it worth the bother or not? There we go. So, oh man, walls of text, loving it. Yeah, psionics were all over the freaking place. There were some crazy ass psionic abilities too. They were really weird pseudoscience stuff. Discuss about this. It's good. We're aware of these things, but we're so afraid of. Yeah. That's the problem with corporations. They want to maximize dollars. They don't want to risk offending potential, being how to put it. Like Hasbro can't afford to be canceled. They have too much profit margin involved. They'd rather play it safe and water down the interest, the interesting facets of different campaign settings that force you to deal with complicated issues. So it's just not, to them, it's not worth the risk to their IP and their bottom line, which is a shame. They're an independent company that didn't have to worry about public trading and profit margins and hitting quotas would naturally be able to take on, would be willing to dare that. Hence 4E. I just wonder if any creative endeavor should ever be corporatized. Not that they would ever stop, and I have no power to change the world at all. So cheers. Let's do. Perfect. Structure's there, but I don't have to hold myself accountable for the details. What does that sound like? That's me. God, how are we doing on time? 7:51. Oh, wow. Okay, I guess I got like a couple minutes left. Fair. Thanks, Muse. My belly rumbled and it's like, you're going to be thinking, I was like, why am I thinking about food? It's like, oh, because it's almost time for me to be done with my day. Nice. So this is Wednesday. So this is all I have for the day. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue working on this illustration for fucking ever. Please be done soon, you horrible, horrible illustration. So I'll be back tomorrow morning to work on this. I'll be back tomorrow night to continue detailing the Eberron monster tokens that we're creating. Love, love, love doing the monster tokens. I do not lament the amount of time taken to create those tokens because I do not anticipate having that Eberron book released next month. So I am not sweating the details and the time that it takes. It will move forward to my morning slot soon enough. And that is going to be loads of fun when we get there. Let me just finish this pauldron again. Yeah. Let's block this in because it ended up looking weird. With his mighty battle bib. Keep the blood off of his armor. The blood of his Yemenis. No offense to the Yemens out there. When life gives you Yemens, make Yemen aid. Pardon the pun, but it is a humanitarian effort. Yeah, I know, it feels a little off. One, two, three, four, five, six. The scaling's right. This is just a horrible illustration. It's a horrible character. That armor is dumb as fuck. I have to fix that. That's a massive inope. I keep trying to do that, like this weird bibbing effect. I do that. And it never turns out right. There's something inside of me that wants to have that sort of apron effect. And yet I don't do a lot of dwarves. Dwarves are built for aprons, man. All right, that's my timely timer to tell me that my day be done. So I'm going to mess around with this line here for a moment. There we go. That is building out more proper. Get this angle right here so I have symmetry.
let's just take this up into here. Maybe I'm overextending. I'm overextending the hip is what I'm doing. There. See, that already feels, God, so much more natural. Good. All right, so this is going to be worth it. When we come back tomorrow morning, we'll dive into this anatomy and fix this dude so he doesn't look stupid. And we'll let Bob be our uncle. There. There. See, yep, there we go. All right, better already. Holy crap. Ugh. Doesn't matter how long you do it, you can still do it badly. All right, guys. Yeah, Karen, thanks a lot. Ken, thanks for hanging out with me. Nitro, thanks for switching up with me, man. And I'll see everybody tomorrow morning. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Thank you so much to how many new subscribers we have. We picked up like 10 subscribers in the past few days. I'm gonna have to give. I think I'm gonna have to credit that to the Reddit community of thanks. I didn't know that Reddit would really glom onto the stuff that I'm doing, but that's a really good indication of how much people are really just looking for common sense solutions for being able to flesh out how mechanics work inside of the 5e Spelljammer campaigns. I'm really happy to have been the one to have the inspiration to build these things and that they're useful to the community. That makes me so proud. So thanks a lot, folks. More to come. Looking forward to it. I will see you all on the other side. Thanks a lot. And